Thank you for watching Mike's in the Garden. We are here in Lakeland, Florida with Steve from Save Our Soil, a company that is changing the world by bringing nutrients back to our soil, organic, living nutrients through worm castings and other types of worm regenerated soil. So Steve, thanks for doing this today.
Man, I'm glad to be in here. I
Can
appreciate
you tell us a little bit about yourself and the company?
Well, I've been messing around with these worms, I guess, about 40 years, I expect. And here just the last couple of years or two, was last year, I guess, a little over a year, I got with my sister and Jeff Skinner, and we just threw the company together, and we're just trying to change the world. I know we can't change the world, but we're trying, you know, to get rid of the bad effects of the chemicals of the world and all the lakes around it, where all the chemicals are going into the lakes and stuff like that. You know, we're just trying to do our part and try to change everything. I know we're not going to do it all by ourselves, but we have to teach people how to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do. We do our part and everybody does their part, then we have a better world and a safer world to eat in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, with better soil, we need to plant the seeds.
Exactly.
People need better soil, more organic, nutrient-rich soil, and you guys are definitely doing that with your worm castings and some of the different things that you provide. We just came from the farmers market that you guys are at every Saturday.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And what's the biggest question that people always ask you is, what are worm castings?
Yeah, what is worm castings? You know, and I have to be straight up with them. You know, I tell everybody I have a commercial worm farm where me and the family does, and what they eat is an extract, which is worm poops, what I call it. You know, just being straight. But it has all the microorganisms and nutrients that your plant doesn't have or can't receive, and it'll go when they use it properly. It gives them what they need. You have you have a bigger and better yield and bigger and prettier flowers. You know, and you got the problem with chemicals floating through the ground and running out to the lake or water supply or whatever that. You know, so you know it's something to really try to do, you know. But anyways, these are my worm beds. Can we go through them?
Yeah, let's take a walk and we'll check out some worm beds.
All right then. Well, I've got a number of beds here, and what I'm doing, I put all my worms in rotation. And what I mean by rotation, the small, medium, and large. And I keep them rotated so I know the size what size they're in, and when they start reproducing, and when they turn into a full adult. And I just keep it from one bed. I'll take the big worms out of one bed, put them in a new bed, and I'll take the worms that's still in here, the babies and eggs, I'll put more feed on top of them, and I'll leave them in there for another 35 days. After to start off with, I'll leave the other ones in here for 62 days, or give a day or two or whatever. Then I put them in there. Then when these over here are breeding and making more babies and eggs, these over here, when they get up to, almost 3 months, that's before the worm will mature. Then I'll take them out and put them in another bed to start a new bed. And the worm castings are in here. Then I just harvest the worm castings and box them up and sell them. Let's look back here where I got these worms baited up for when I go to harvest them. They're a lot easier to harvest. You know what I'm saying? Sure. These beds are right at about 5.5 inches.
Okay.
And then by the time it gets down to where it's supposed to be, it's probably closer to about 3, a little bit less. And then after I harvest the worms, then I add more onto it. But these are the babies here if I can get it to zero in. Can you see those?
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Okay, and some of these might be better than the other ones here. See, you can see them all hatching in little bitty fellers.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of worms are these, Steve?
These right here is called a garden mix.
Okay.
That's Alabama jumpers, crawlers, red wigglers, and the blue worms. A lot of people like these just to put in their garden, you know. And the reason for that is that when you put these worms in your garden or raised bed or whatever, the worms they don't eat nothing alive, no live organic matter or whatever, you know, but they'll eat around the root of the plant. They don't eat the root, but they'll clean it off all the way around it, and then the root will expand. Then you get a better yield of whatever's growing, you know. or whatever. And then, while it's staying in there, it's going to go to the bathroom, and that's more fertilizer. So, it's two benefits to work to come to.
So these are watermelon baits, right?
Yep. That's when I get ready to harvest. Like all the big worms and everything, I go through here and use watermelon. Everybody's got a different technique.
Okay.
And I have my own, and everybody has their own. Theirs work, and so does mine. So, if I change it when I know what I'm doing, But anyways, I can just put pieces of watermelon down there, leave them over for a couple of days. And the majority, not all of them, but the majority of the worms go to it, and I'll harvest them. Then I turn back around and run them through the quarter-inch harvester. And then if there is any stragglers, I get them. Then the eggs and the cocoons and the babies will fall through. Then I'll take those, put them back in the bed with some new bedding. Then I go to the next bed. Then I go here on the other one, I go to mediums. Then when I get on that side over, it's large ones. And I just keep rotating back and forth. Then I know which one's going to be next to harvest, where the worm castages go 100%, pure natural.
Right.
Okay?
So these beds here are just for the different size?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Age of...
The one's for the babies and eggs, the other one's for the juveniles. And juveniles are, when they get up to 3 months. Then after 3 months, the majority of them start breeding again. So before they start that, then I take them out and get the big ones out where they won't lay no more eggs, and then move it over to that one. Then I can harvest my worm castings. It's just 1, 2, and 3, and then back over again, back and forth. What we got here is 2 different kind of worm castings.
Okay.
This is what my sister, she's brilliant, masterminded. I don't know, it runs in the family, I guess, like me, I reckon. But then we got the 100% worm castings. This is it right here. That's just like black gold right there. Yeah. Okay, 100%. You can't beat it. There's nothing else better.
Brown gold, maybe?
No, it's just black gold.
Black gold.
That's just plain and simple. You see there, now it gets black. See there, how pretty that is?
That's pretty.
Mm-hmm. Gold. All right then. So we wanted a soil. She had this idea about was any way to enhance the worm castings. For down here in Florida, there's a lot of poor soil and everything like that. So she made something, put this together, and it works terrific. Okay. That she uses 80% worm castings, and she uses 20% new minerals, okay, which is ozomite, back guana, kelp, fossil shell, and stuff like that. And she puts in there with it. And then when you put it in there, it's like a probiotic. It's all organic, you know what I'm saying? But it boosts even up the worm castings, and it does a good job. So we work 2 different ones at a time. This is the Virginia right here. Let me show you. It's got a lighter color to it, and that's a diatomaceous is in there as well. Mm-hmm. And the fossil shell is also powdery like white too, but that's 80% worm castings with the other 6 minerals. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, then, one of the main things in having a worm bin, a worm bed, you have to keep check on the pH level. That's really important, for your worms and everything, because you got to know if it's too acidic or alkaline or whichever. But the best way to do it, as long as you test it, if you're between 6 and 8, you're pretty well safe. But 7 is a better picture. 7.1 or 7.2. That would be a perfect bed if you can get it like that. That way it keeps the worms happy, and they won't have to worry about being burned up or dragged up by alkaline or whatever, But also go along with that, you always have to have a new temperature in your bed. Usually these worms, this is a regular compost mix, it's usually if you can keep it anywhere between 60 and 85 and 90, you get more production out of it. That's one of the 2 main theories right there. Is the pH level and temperature. You keep them 2 together, and the moisture of your bed. The moisture, well, there's scientific ways of doing it, but I always just grab a handful without no worms in it and squeeze it. And as long as you get 2 or 3 little drops coming out of it, that bed's perfect, because you don't want to overwater it, because if you do, the worms breathe through your skin, he's going to drown or he's going to leave, one to the other, And so if it gets too dry, you know what's going to happen. They're going to leave or die, So it's got to be, you got to keep them in that range. I mean, you just don't throw a pile of dirt in there and say, here, I got some worm farm and here we go. It just don't act that way, you know. So those are the main ingredients in keeping worms happy and hungry all the time. All right, here we go. My name's Steve. Everybody knows that, but I'm going to do some harvesting on the worms. These has already been harvested one time with the 1/4 inch, so we're going to go through here with the 1/8 inch, and that way we can separate the babies and cocoons would come out the end, and the rest of the soil would go down into the wheelbarrow, and that's our worm castings. I'm just going to give you all a quick look and see how it goes, okay? Are we ready back there, partner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. There's one. I usually put about 3 scoops in here. This is, hopefully before long we automated on our new worm harvester. It's coming, but our boss man's working on it. All right then, it's time to keep your eye up under there. You'll see it falling through, okay? If you can you see it falling through? That's your worm castings. And everything else that wasn't eaten and babies and eggs are coming out the other end. I just turn it real slow like that. I just keep doing it and keep doing it. It goes all the way down through like that. I just repeat the process. And then I take my hoe. All right then, I have my wheelbarrow under here. And I turn it around this way, get it good to go. Then I reach under here and I rake all my worm castings in that little hole up under here. That's where all the worm castings falls through, just like that. Just like that right there. And you just keep repeating the process. Come around here and get your wheelbarrow. You pull it out. And there's your black worm castings. Right there. You just keep full until you get completely full. Then it goes to the baggage area, which I'll show you here in a few minutes. But that's how it's all bagged up. Okay? All right, here we go. We're going to show you all how we bag them. First thing we do, we have our bags, and we have them labeled on the front. We don't have nothing on the back now. Labeled on the front with the instructions on the back, okay? And this is the way we do them. Put right at 3 pounds, but always put a little bit more than 3 pounds, so just they dry out. That way, make sure you get a full count. But this is all we do. Reach in there and fill that little feller up like that. See, that's it. 4. That looks like it's right about 5 ounces right there. Put it on the steel there. It's 3-point ounces. Then we bend it over, fold it, and then we bring it over here. We always put a double seal on all our bags. That way, in case for shipping or whatever. And we stick it in there just like that right there. To right there and right there. Double seal it. That way it keeps the freshness and everything in the bag. And it's all double sealed. We always check it and make sure. See that double seal right there? All we need. And that's how we do the worm castings, baby. Okay, worm tea. This is it's a liquid fertilizer that when your plants do get up a lot higher, or even the grass in the yard, you can take this worm tea and spray it just like people do with chemicals or whatever, but they're using worm tea instead, okay? And then what this is, we have it in a 32-ounce bottle. It's a concentrate. And then this concentrate, it averages about, you can put 3 ounces to a gallon of water. And now this whole bottle, you probably get about 10 ounces, about 10 gallons mixture for all of it. You can just take it and spray it on your grass or anything that's green that's going to help make it grow. Same thing, you get your microbes and you get your nutrients and you get all the minerals and all that stuff that you need, that the grasses need that they can't get. But this here will give it to them. And you don't have to worry about it burning the grass or whatever like that, even a hot part of the day. But it's better to do it in the afternoons, when it don't evaporate or whatever, but that's the best way to go. Yes, sir. And usually when we make it, we make 32 gallons at a time, and that way we let it aerate for 24 to 48 hours. It was a big aerator on the inside. That way, the longer you let it churn and bubble up, the more microbes and it comes alive, in other words, what it does. And it's just really fantastic stuff. Okay?
Now, you guys also sell worm farms where somebody can make their own worm tea, correct?
Exactly. Let me run and get a worm farm right quick. Okay, this is the home worm bin, I guess you could say it is. But you know, a lot of people, when they do the scraps, instead of throwing away all the food off the table, like, you know, vegetables and whatnot, you just can't put no poultry in here, no meat in here, no nothing with grease. Mainly just vegetables like lettuce, tomatoes, or whatever, but not many tomatoes because it is acidic. Mainly just green stuff, and chop it up in small, break it up in small pieces and put it in here. And let me show you how it works. This is the bottom tray. In this tray, there's 250 worms, and we done had the feed in there, and they've already eaten most of it. Let me see there with all them worms? Okay, and then when they get done eating that, they're gonna want something else to eat, right? Well, what you do, you reach over here, the tray comes with 3 trays, just like that right there. You take the next tray, you put it down just like that right there, where it's touching the other one on the bottom.
Okay.
Then refeed them, break up all that worm feed and stuff and put it in here, maybe little pieces of cardboard or whatever, and put it in there. And you can feel right there, you can feel it right here where I got my finger. Yep. Just kind of fill it up to where the notches are right there, because that's where the next container goes.
Okay.
Then when you get done eating all of that, you'll know it when it comes time. Then you reach up here and get another one. Do it the same way, just like that right there. And do this the same way, you know, fill it up full up to right there. But in the meantime, you know, if you want some more castings, you just reach down here and pull this out, and there's probably worms coming out the bottom, if I'm right. See right there where they're going through right there? That's one's proving through. Anyways, that's worm castings down there and right here too, see. But if not, you just keep going.
Now those naturally fall through? They're not sifted down there or anything?
What, the worms?
The castings.
Oh, that's just what falls through when you eat it, like it falls through the hole. Okay. Yeah. That's what it all boils down to. But you just keep stacking them. You know, when they eat all of that, then you put another tray in there and eat it. You got to keep it, you know, some water in there on it. Keep it moist. In other words, not real flooding wet, not real dry. You got to keep it moist. Then if you start getting liquid in there, you just reach over and turn that on like that, and you get the excess water out of it, and it's going to be real dark black. You can take that and just add water to it, kind of mix it up, make your own little worm tea or something other than just, you know, pour it on your plants or whatever, and you're good to go. All right, then I was talking earlier about our worm castings. We call it regenerate. That's where we added 20% more of different types of minerals that goes along with 80% of our worm castings. That you know, it's like a probiotic. It gets in there and helps your soil to when it gets too hard to penetrate through the sand and everything. This is going to help you. All right, number 1 is kelp meal. That comes out to like 3.333%. Then we got biochar. It comes about the same thing. And then we have diatomaceous. Did I pronounce that right? I guess I did. That one right there. Then we got fossil shell. Okay. Then we got bat guano. Everybody knows what that is, right? Okay. Bat droppings. Then we got ozomite right here on the far end. It all comes out to like 3.33, continue more and more, and just right at 3.3% altogether. It comes out to 20. Anyways, it all works out just right. And that's how we keep up with our regenerate. It's 80% worm castings and 20% minerals, extra minerals. There you go.
So Steve, thanks for showing us around and giving us a little inside baseball, maybe even a little bit of the secret sauce. But I think what you guys are doing is amazing, and we really need more people thinking about what they're putting in their soil, because ultimately that's what ends up in our bodies.
Exactly right. The main point about the whole thing is just getting away from chemicals. And I mean, when you go to the grocery store, you buy vegetables, you know there's chemicals in it, you know. And whereas, you know, if you got worm castings in there or whatever, you know, you can go to sleep at night not worried about what your children eat for supper. You know what I'm saying? Right. And when you go fishing out there, you don't know what's in their body. You know, freshwater fishing, Man, nobody eating freshwater fish out there for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas if you use worm castings, you know, if anything, it'll help the vegetation out there as well, too, you know. As long as you don't, they got a limit now. It's, I don't think I mean, don't quote me on this, but the last time I heard this, they'll allow up to like 50% nitrogen, nothing over that, but I don't know if that went into law yet or not. I'm not for sure about that. That's just, you know, what I heard just running through the YouTube and the news on TV.
Sure.
The main point of the story is it's just SOS, save our soil. Don't use no more of that chemical stuff, and go with organics all you can. Some people still do, they just don't take the time to understand or want to pay attention, but the chemical uses, you know, is just, you know, if we keep going like we're going today, 20 years from now, what are we going to have, you know? But other than that, though, I enjoyed the little documentary or whatever it's going to be. But sure do appreciate it. And y'all come to Lakeland up there downtown every Saturday to come see my sister, Jeff, but mainly just come see me. I'm there every Saturday and just, you know, there to 2 o'clock. All right, then.
This is Steve. He's
Later.
the Worm Man, and you can go to wesaveoursoil.com and you can purchase the worm castings, the regenerate soil, worm tea, and the worm farms as well. And make sure you check them out on Facebook and Instagram as well. Steve, thanks again, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.